Product data in e-commerce is the absolute bottom of the food chain. It's like plankton in the ocean. That's not talking it down. If you ignore the value of plankton to the rest of the food chain, you're totally wrong. Plankton is responsible for nearly all primary production in the ocean and generates over half the world's oxygen. It feeds the little sea bugs that feed the fish, that feed the seals, that feed the dolphins, the sharks, the pelicans. And product data is the same. It's the information that creates good content that feeds the search engines, the LLMs, the marketplaces, the search and merch platforms. I could go on. And if you don't have good data at the bottom of the food chain, everything else is feeding on junk. If you want to create AI slop, you feed it junk. That's a long-winded intro to today's guest, I know. But Ole is someone I've admired for years because he built Accentuate Custom Fields, which made Metafields useful on Shopify stores back when managing custom data on Shopify was like trudging through quicksand. He sold up Accentuate a couple of years ago, and of course, Shopify now has a wonderful native Metafield functionality and meta objects too. He's working on some new projects like Kairos Protect, which is tackling bot and fraud protection. Product data is something I'm super passionate about because I've built Product Pelican, which helps Shopify merchants manage their product data at scale using the power of AI. And so it's full circle to chat with someone like Ole, who's built a product that I respect so much, which has helped so many merchants around the world. When Accentuate started out, you couldn't upload images to Metafields. There were no standards for related products, no places where you could easily store multiple values without clunky JSON objects. Fast forward to today, and Shopify has its own taxonomy that fuels a Metafield structure that is feeding the future of commerce. And challenge for merchants now is getting ahead of the game. I could keep the food chain analogies going, the circle of life, the old lady who swallowed the spider, but you get the gist, and we've got a great conversation to jump into. Thanks as always to the support heroes who support this podcast and support so many Shopify apps around the world with their support. Check out the Shopify App Show on Substack for playbooks on all the topics we cover on the show. Like, subscribe, share, and more importantly, stay tuned for this great conversation with Ole. All right, Ole, well, thanks for joining the Shopify App Show. We're talking Metafields. I don't like to use words like Godfather or whatever, but to me, you've been doing the Metafield space for so long that I have used the word now. So I'd love to, hear a little bit about your story. And you've been around. You're most well known for Accentuate back in the day.
Yeah, sure. And thanks for having me. We started building, or I did, as a solo developer, started building Accentuate back in 2016. So that's that's forever in this timeline. So it was very basic support for Metafields at that point. Shopify only supported Metafields through their API and through Liquid as well, and that's where I sort of saw some ways we could, create through an app, create Metafield definitions and store values for, the basic needs that were possible at that time, extending, product descriptions, size guides, and so on. So it was extremely basic. I think, if my memory serves me right, it was strings and integers and booleans, and that was it. So I started out simply having some stringified JSON field definitions stored as Metafields at the shop level, and that was it. So no external database or anything. Everything was just stored as Metafields.
Yeah.
So it started out like that, with quickly support for image uploads externally, because Shopify didn't have an API to upload files, and we could upload them to an external storage and then store the URL in the string Metafield, and that was basically it. So I think it was okay traction for that. So I started building new sort of self-invented field types on top of strings, repeatable fields, for example, what is known today as list types. That was quite a sort of booster for that, because that turned out to be quite useful, or quite sort of something everyone wanted to build into their themes. And you as a developer were probably on board at that time, driving customers to use the solution. That was a big thing back then. And then
the JSON objects that were produced by those those repeatable fields were a work of art in their own.
Yeah. I mean, we try to make good use of what's possible, right? So, yeah, and then came global fields, shop level Metafields. Then came more support from Shopify on their Metafields. We incorporated that into Accentuate as extra Metafield types, because we had our own and Shopify came with theirs, and then we had sort of a dual track going on. And then came the acquisition by ShopCircle, because we figured we would try something else. We have run the Accentuate for, I think, the better part of 7 years, growing it to more than 12,000 subscribers. And then we thought we would try to exit that as a business. And ShopCircle acquired it in 23. The rest is history, as they say.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it lives on in ShopCircle ownership, and hopefully doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's set you up in a perfect position to now you've built live Metafields through Espresso, and you've been able to take that knowledge from all the years of building Accentuate and working with some stuff that was like you're coming up with solutions where there wasn't really a place for a lot of the stuff you did to be done, and now now you've got all of that knowledge plus the ability to use the wonderful capabilities that are in the platform in terms of managing Metafields now, and all the GraphQL APIs, and the ability to actually do this stuff at scale. So tell us a little bit about what where you're at now with the live Metafields.
Yeah, so live Metafields came actually out of an idea that we saw that Cloudflare launched their durable objects. As a matter of fact, I think some of the apps idea we get come out of oh, there's some cool tech over here. Can we use it for something cool in the Shopify community? So live Metafields grew out of an idea to use durable objects to sort of keep the state of a certain Metafield, or for example, a product, keep that state in a durable object, and a durable object in Cloudflare can have its own sort of set alarm timer to wake it up and say, do we need to do some updates? So that's the fundamental idea of the live Metafields, that every sort of every product for the clients using the app, every Metafields on that product has its own durable object with its own state, life cycle, alarm timers, and so on. So instead of using kind of a daily cron job to update everything, every object lives its own state and updates itself automatically. So that's where we started, and then we sort of got the first customers on, which happened to be a huge customer with 30,000 products and I don't know how many thousand orders per day, and it became sort of it grew out of itself. It was too much to handle, so to speak. Cost-wise, it would simply the cost of driving it through the Cloudflare platform became too much. So it still runs on Cloudflare, but it uses a more, what should we call it? Not so state-of-the-art sort of life cycle solution. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had to take it down a notch, and no need to use cutting edge technologies every time to solve every problem. So
yeah,
so yeah,
awesome.
it runs on everything runs on a Cloudflare worker, keeping everything updated through webhooks and some timers for every object that fire whenever needed. Say you have a how many days ago did this product last sell, for example, that we need to update that at least once a day. So we can't just leave it. It needs to be woken up and get an update, and that's what the platform handles.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah.
And so tell me about how people like that. I can understand the infrastructure behind that is it's a potential beast. But what are some of the use cases? Like, where are people getting the most value out of that ability to create the live Metafields?
Yeah, we don't have that much insight to, there are a lot of fields being offered. I think there are 30 plus Metafields going on for calculating conversion rates, last visit, last sold, what was the last order for this product, and so on. So it's very much conversion focused or conversion optimization focused. To the field values can be rendered on PVPs to boost conversion, and so on, or being used as a collection filter to show only bestsellers. For example, you can quickly build like a collection with only top 30 bestsellers, or you can use it in your admin to filter your product by number of review stars from various review platforms. Yeah,
like for merchandising, that's just so powerful, isn't it? Like, the collections. Can't.
Exactly. Yeah, conversion optimization and merchandising. That's the main goal here. So that's it.
What's the moment a Shopify app realizes they can't keep doing support tickets themselves?
When an app realizes that they need the help, it's already a little bit too late. And all of a sudden, you start getting 15, 20, 30 queries a day. You look at the inbox and it just keeps piling up. You sit down to build and there's just no time. That's when most app developers realize that they're a little bit in trouble.
The Support Heroes. Round-the-clock support for your Shopify apps. Visit thesupportheroes.com today.
Yep.
When you're using Shopify native Metafields as well, like that just does open up so much opportunity with what you can do in the platform, like in terms of like create the collections, filters, as you say, outputting on the front end. It really opens up a lot of opportunity that people potentially aren't tapping into, and that you don't get if you're using a tool that stores all that data in an external database, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's very easy for merchants to use, and it's sort of calculate once and use everywhere. So you can the app does the hard lifting for you. Use it on your storefront. Use it in your admin. Use it for merchandising. That's the main goal, and it's working out very well.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. I was talking to, I spoke to Paul from Shopify Flow on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about how like he sort of was basically said Metafields to him are Flow's biggest unlock was, I think, his words. And so, yeah, what else is there in Metafields and in the Shopify platform that you see that, yeah, people can be doing more of? Because I can imagine that, yeah, there's so many features and so many things that you can do with a tool like Espresso, but yeah, what features are people not using that they should be?
Yeah, I think you said it. The Metafields unlocking flows is probably I think I wouldn't call it an overlooked feature, but I would assume that using Metafields to trigger workflows would be something a lot of people will be using going forward, or will be using more going forward. As you said, you can have a Metafield update trigger a certain Shopify flow, and we can also trigger Shopify flows from Espresso. Certain Metafield types can work as a trigger for Shopify flow. So you can do something on the back of any update, and that's pretty powerful. I think every merchant has their own way to do stock updates, doing something on the back end to their third-party solution. So I think there are just as many solutions to doing things as there are merchants. I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, like, a scenario that I think of is like inventory updates as well as the other one, isn't it? So, like, if you've got inventory is pretty binary the way it gets stored in Shopify. Like, you've got your locations, but you've just got a number next to each location. But in some instances, you might have like you might have 10 stores and 3 warehouses, for example, and it's really hard to differentiate what's warehouse stock versus what's store stock. So those types of problems, being able to automate that and actually not try and filter through all the inventory on the front end, but actually show, all right, this item is available in the warehouse and it's also available in store. Exactly. Or it's in one or not the other. Like, so having that data just pushed to Metafields essentially allows you then to create the front end experience and the shipping rates and all of that stuff based on what you've got in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the goal behind the offering, is that you can have all this information that is basically something already available in Shopify, just mangled into different contexts, so you can see stock per location, and everything that you could derive from Shopify is sort of nicely presented in a Metafield.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And I think of other. I've got so many things bouncing through my head now about how this is so useful, and like even like things like price updates as well. That triggers on like I think like that once the price updates on a product, that gives so much opportunity to then like trigger not just things like product badges, but also marketing campaigns and all of that sort of stuff as well. I can imagine that,
and even the boring stuff like keeping track of what was the last price update. This EU Omnibus directive, you need to show, if you're selling something in the EU, you have to show what was the lowest price during the last 30 days and so on. This is also something that is offered through Espresso Live, and it's boring stuff solved for you.
Yeah. Oh, the boring stuff is often what and I think particularly the people that tune into this this podcast are generally more interested in the boring stuff. So those types of things, and just the ability to store that data and use it, like because the marketing team are always going to have the ideas, but it's so often there's limitations around what you can actually do if you don't have the data in the right shape and have it stored in the right places, and have the automation in place, because you see people have to manage data through spreadsheets still and automate the way that
Exactly.
and have to import stuff, and it just gets out of date, particularly with large catalogs. So there's it adds a huge amount of value.
I have huge respect. I have huge respect for merchants. Balance sort of trying to manage catalogs of 30,000 plus items. I don't know how they do it, but I have huge respect for any merchant trying to manage huge catalogs like this. I don't know how they do it.
Absolutely. And often tying lots of things together as well. Like, it's not just having the data in Shopify, it's getting it in there. Sometimes you've got like an external system like an ERP that's pushing it through, and doesn't necessarily do the best job of doing that. So I think it's always an interesting puzzle, isn't it? Deciding where you draw the line between what comes from your ERP, whether you have a PIM in place, whether you have other scripts and tools managing stuff. I don't know. I personally think, like, once you've got the business data in from the ERP, the more you can automate in terms of getting that information across to Metafields in Shopify, whether you're using a tool like Espresso, or using even AI to populate some of that data, or building business rules to populate all that. Now it is a massive challenge in every business. So it's really great to shine a light on a way that people can start to automate some of that.
Yeah, of course. I think having an ERP is often a sign of that the products are probably being managed elsewhere, like product subscriptions and so on. They need to flow into Shopify more automatically, because we can't pull them out and manage them in Shopify, because there are other parts of the business relying on that ERP. So it's a complex world. Shopify is playing a part in that, but it's not the entire it's not the entire what's the word here? It's not a sort of a contained bubble, right?
That's it. And
it lives in.
Absolutely. And there's something like that's it. Like, I think we're also seeing every day at the moment, like, just the day that we're recording this was the day that Shopify announced they've got their Claude and ChatGPT apps. And there's the school of people who are out there yelling and saying everyone's redundant now because you just do this in do this now in ChatGPT or Claude. But I don't know. I actually see it as like it just provides opportunity for people to build the right UX around that, and build tools. Like, I think apps still play a massive part in that. They set the guardrails, and the people like you, and I hope I do it as well, is bring that expertise to, having worked with Shopify merchants for so long, to actually take the technology of APIs and AI and MCPs and all the different tools that are there, and help make it easy for a merchant to then funnel through and use that. So like, whether it's updating Metafields or categories or product descriptions, whatever it is, it's unrealistic for someone to just ask Claude to go and update 10,000 product descriptions. But you can use those tools to automate getting those descriptions and digesting them into Metafields, or putting them into your different product feeds and all that sort of stuff. That's where the exciting stuff.
I think it would be interesting to see if we could, on the backside of the apps, simply tell Claude or ChatGPT to do the updates, and then we could sort of skip the API throttle limits. That would be cool, but
absolutely.
Perhaps they can live together.
That's it. I think they will find a place to live together, and I think there'll still be room for innovation for people like you to build stuff. and that's why, and I'd love
Yeah,
to.
sure. I think I think that every time you have an app, there will always be another way to do it, or 10 different ways to do it, and merchants should just find the solution that is best for them
Yeah.
in their workflow. So the one app would be the best fit for one merchant, and the next would be for another one. So I totally get why Shopify has this, allowing a lot of apps flowing into the App Store, because who determines which app is best for
Yeah.
the merchant? That would be the merchant. So yeah, there's room for new apps, new ways to do things all the time.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. Like, I know everyone who has an app, your natural reaction when you see that there's another app that does the same thing is a little bit of disappointment. And yeah, I know, like, I've even seen, like, with creating apps, you think you've created something unique, and you do your research and you're sure it's unique, and then you launch your product into the market and you're like, oh, actually it wasn't unique. There were already 5 others that did the same thing. But that's but you kind of embrace that, don't you, and have fun with it. And yeah, like, I think it also, like, I see, like, the innovation that happens, and, like, there's areas like bundles where we've spoken to Pete. We covered bundles on one episode of this show, and, like, there's just hundreds of bundle apps out there, and a lot of them actually are quite good friends with each other and refer each other's apps. And yeah, it's a wonderful community like that. And yeah, it's, I think, where people help each other rise to the top, it's for the better of everyone. And the AI built junk that people are whinging about, like, that tends, I think most of that just won't get any traction. People will see through it pretty quickly. At least I hope that's the case.
Yeah, I'm not gonna shame anyone's app, but I think there is a lot of junk out there for
Yep.
sure. Low effort solutions to various use cases, and I think, yeah, it would be hard for Shopify to act as a sort of judge on what is good and what's not. But I mean, some apps could probably not be in the App Store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll draw a line on that topic now, because yeah, we're all positively on these conversations. But yeah, no, I think, yeah, that's it. Like, there's also always been bad apps around well before AI, so it's not a totally new thing. But
yeah,
no,
I think it's been it's quite crowded at the moment. So when I came into app development, I think we still had the old App Store, which was just sort of a picture of some shelves with I think there were a few hundred apps, I think. So
yeah.
I think in part that would be probably why Accentuate became a hit. Not too many other options out there, sort of forcing the merchants to use this app.
Yeah, but you sell yourself short there, because I remember back in the day when we first started using Accentuate, and it wasn't the product that made agencies keep using it, it was the service, and that still stands true today. Like, it's the people that respond quickly, the people that will add new features quickly or help you use it better. Like, that's what grows a software business, I think, across anything. And so yeah, I think that's where people today just need to remember those basic principles. Like, there's more than 300 apps in the App Store, but there's also thousands of apps where, yeah, people have learnt about Shopify and decided they could vibe code something yesterday. Those apps are not going to be the ones to worry about. It's just getting in front of merchants, helping solve their problems and show them how to solve the problems. And yeah, if you do a good job of that, then yeah, you should succeed. And yeah, it is competitive, but there's also a lot more Shopify stores out there as well, aren't there? Like, there was so
for sure. And it's been great, working with we worked together when you were with the Australian company Overdose, and help providing customers for Accentuate. You used Accentuate for building solutions, and we came with improvements based on customers' needs. So the life cycle is complete, right?
Yeah, that's it. And you say the life cycle is complete, but I know you're still working on new things. So it's timely to finish up with what's next for you.
Right now we built an app which made it through. We got it approved, and then we just parked it because we got another idea. So I actually have an app, waiting to be launched, but we are not going to do that at the moment. We got an entirely new idea around store protection. So we built an app for capturing bots visiting your storefronts, which you can then log out. And we figured out a way we could sort of contain the Shopify analytics callbacks. So unapproved sessions or traffic you don't want cannot pollute your Shopify analytics.
Mm-hmm.
And then we sort of lift that concept into the checkout as well. So if you have bots visiting with the pre-filled carts or using the Ajax card API to create cards, then try to check them out, or simply do cart testing to test stolen cards against some merchandise. Then you can't do that; it will be locked. So it's sort of a dual sort of protection mechanism: storefront lockdown and checkout protection in one app.
Yeah, awesome.
So that is what we are focusing now. We've seen in a lot of community posts that people are struggling with bots, price scrapers, scalping attempts, and whatever the traffic is, often from China, Nepal, Vietnam, Indonesia, and so on.
Yeah. It's such a important, those types of tools. Again, you used the word boring earlier. It's something that sounds boring until you've had to deal with, getting thousands of dollars worth of fraudulent orders, or bot traffic sends all of your marketing spend off skew and all that stuff. So you're doing it's a service to the ecosystem, and I can't think of anyone better to be doing that type of thing. So no, look, I think that might be another episode in a couple of months' time for sure.
Let's hope so. I think in a couple of months' time, that will probably be when the app is finally approved. I think the wait time for new apps is through the roof. That's another topic for
we'll leave that one
something
too.
else. But
no, look, I could talk to you all day, Ollie, and like I said, I feel like you're someone I've respected in the ecosystem for a very long time. So thanks so much, Ollie, and thanks everyone who's tuned in to the Shopify app show. If you haven't hit the like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, please do it so I can stop having to say this at the end of every episode. And we'll be back with another episode soon.